NTA. This is Africa's largest TV network. Let's now turn our attention to the Kwara attacks that shocked the nation on Wednesday night.
And so joining us here is Jonathan Isaac, a security expert. We welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me on program.
And also part of the conversation, we have Dr. Yahuza Getsu, a security and intelligence expert, who joins us via Zoom from Bauchi. Many thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Getsu is looking so different this morning.
Robust.
but let's begin from here in the studio. What's your immediate reaction to the Kwara attacks, which many have described as not seen before?
Well, first, I want to commiserate with the families of the victims of the Kwara attack and that of the Katsina attack as well. It's quite unfortunate. This is one attack that is, too many in recent times. We saw that of the Water, and then down to the ones of Sokoto, and now here talking about Kwara and also Katsina. It's a stark reminder that Nigeria is a stark reminder of Nigeria's battle with banditry and terrorism, and it also exposes us to our national security to international communities that we are still struggling with how to even fight with our regional insecurity. And for me, what has happened undermines the performance of our security intelligence. 300 persons, 179 persons, 20 persons will be killed, abducted in the communities, and there will be no trace of how they come in, how they left, and all of that, and no arrest has been made. So it's a slap on our national security, and it beats me hollow when I hear numbers, even in the street where one person has to be killed. You will see that there will be traces in the local communities where there's fire that one person is killed. There will be traces of who did that, then the group that did that, and what led to that. But when you talk about numbers, 200 families, 200 individuals are killed. And all the time we hear troops are sent, all the times we hear they're on top of the situations. And so it is high time we change the ideas of plans into actions. How long do we continue to send troops where there will be no arrest, where there will be no prosecution, and our laws are so very fragile? And so when we hear international communities designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, we shouldn't argue that. We shouldn't argue that, because when we go to argue that, it shows that we are very insensitive to the plight of Nigerians, because they are coming to help. But, because of politics, some will tell you, oh, the countries where Americans have invaded and they have done this, they were never the same when they left it. So we should seek for help, technological help. We must have technological advancement in the fight against insecurity. But when we continue to send troops, like some experts have argued, even when you send 100,000 or 1 million soldiers to those zones, like we've had in Sambisa forest over the years, nothing will change if we don't deploy technology. We should have technology, drones, cameras, manning these areas, giving us surveillance and intelligence. But Nigeria is lacking intelligence, and I wonder, this is the country where we have our intelligence agency back then in 2010, apprehending criminals with intelligence-driven information and all of that. But today, you wonder that even if someone is kidnapped in a local community, it will take days and years for rescue. Sometimes ransoms are paid. Families goes into paying ransoms. And then I begin to wonder, where is the so-called intelligence agency?
Thank you.
Where's the intelligence agency? Where's the NIA? Where's the DSS? Where's the DIA? Why are we having it so bad that we can't even combat simple criminals in local communities? Not to talk about ISWAP, terror, Boko Haram, and all the ISIS of this country. We must get out of this if we must get a country that will...
Of course, we need to get out of this. When you talked about ransom, it's also very surprising that even governments are paying ransom. That's a dimension that we want to look at. But of course, let's get to Dr. Getso. I'd like to hear your thoughts about these coordinated attacks and how massive they are, and the success of these attacks, despite despite all the talk, all the assurances, of being on top of the security situation in the country.
Well, first of all, I want to commiserate with Kwara State government, the Kiama local government, as well as all Nigerians for what has happened. So far, as confirmed by the police, the number have risen to 70 now. Total number of people died. Still investigation is ongoing. I'm sure the number will continue to rise as we move. So as far as I'm concerned, it is a negligence. It is as a result of inability to handle the situation accordingly. I know about the presence of these guys. They didn't come on the day of attack to that community. They have been around that community. Those attackers, they have been well organized. They have been well settled. They have been really comfortable around the radius of Kiama local government, some part of and some other part of the neighborhood of other local governments around in Kwara State, Niger State, and Kebbi State. It's not that they came on the day of attack to attack the community. No, they have been there in the last 6-7 years back. I have been able to visit those communities between the span of 7 years back for about 8 times or even more than that. And as far as I'm concerned, there is a poor coordination mechanism between the sister agencies. There is poor coordination mechanism between the security agencies and the community leadership. The local government have not been able to, all the governments, I can say, the federal, the state, and the local government have not been able to handle their responsibility of protecting lives and property, of putting in place what's supposed to be put in place that could have averted the what has happened. Whichever way, we are talking about life and death. We are talking about the geographical terrain. We are talking about who does what, when, how, where, and why. And we also have to look inward also, what effort have we been put in place in holding people accountable based on the responsibilities assigned? Yes, of course, there may be presence of police, there may be presence of vigilante, there may be presence of other formal and non-formal security agencies. But how much effort have they been putting in place in order to address, in order to clear, in order to deal with the criminals who have been settled, comfortably settled, who have been living like the governor in his government house, around the Kiama and its environs? The community knows who they are, and the security agencies cannot argue with me that they don't know about the presence of these guys. So what is how have we done? Why is our intelligence? Why is the DSS? Why is the civil defense? Why is the police? Where are the military intelligence? And where are the defense intelligence? What a mechanism, what efforts have they put in place? It is quite a shame to our face, and really putting a big question to our national security for us to be saying that we have ungoverned spaces. I don't believe in anything ungoverned, because I believe there is nowhere that is ungoverned. At the ward level, we have councillors. At the local government level, we have local government chairmen. We have members of the State Assembly. We have members of the National Assembly. We have His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, and we have the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So having this, why do we have what is called ungoverned? Is it good for us, to international community, to be saying that we have what is called ungoverned spaces? These guys have been there. We know them. We know who they are. And the community knows the guys, and they know they have been there. Does that mean the police in Wowo, if there is at all any outpost, or the divisional police station at the Kiama, Can they tell me that they are not aware of the presence of this Lakurawa? Because they are not Boko Haram. When I hear people saying that they are Boko Haram, they are this and that. Yes, of course, between the years of 2016, 2017, and 2018, there is mass presence of bandits who was later pushed out from that environment by Ansaru and some joint of Boko Haram activities. But much later, the Lagwan Lakurawa came, sometimes around the 2021, 2023, up to down to 2024. They flushed out the Boko Haram, the Ansaru, and the Boko Haram, as well as the bandits. They took over. I have presented many papers at national and international conferences. I have been discussing this Kiyama issue. I have also there are a lot of clips. Go to YouTube. You will find a lot of clips where I discuss the presence of these cowardice guys. But the problem is our inability to handle compromises, our inability to handle, to hold people accountable, because the security agencies, the security heads manning the Kiama local government, the security agencies manning the Kwara state need to be put in, must be put on question. What have they been doing? Does that mean we have never been reporting this to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? That is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because if you didn't report it, you don't know about it. But now Dr. Jeswa is saying they have been there in the lifespan of 5, 7 to 8 years. And I have been discussing this through local international media, and I have been putting it in writing in many of my social media handles. Those presentations are there. I want to believe that one time, Vanguard newspaper, if I could remember vividly, they also had interviewed me on this subject. And I have advised government. So I don't know what's really the sources of information or how we manage information. Those informations I provided, those informations, I know that many of the people who have been on air have been discussing this over time.
Thank you very much. I think the signals to Dr. Getso is also being affected, but thank you very much for your thoughts so far. Let's get back here in the studio where we have Mr. Noja. Now, I'm wondering, does this take, in your opinion, similar patterns as others, before it? And could there have been warning signs that may have been missed or ignored?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll take you around the North Central region and also some of the warning signs you have talked about.
In a short while.
In a short while, yeah. Sometime in Kaduna State, in the last administration of His Excellency, the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, he said some groups were found in forest, the communities raised alarm about numbers of persons on motorcycles parading themselves into a forest. They raised the land. That was an intelligence that should have been processed. That intelligence was not processed. Days after, these groups came and attacked the communities. When they attacked the communities, they settled down in the community because they were displaced. They displaced these persons from the communities and settled in the communities. Those that were remaining in the communities, they lobbied them to protect them, to shoot them, because they said they assured them of their protection. You can imagine where criminals, terrorists, not assuring the natives of their own protection when government, that is a failure of part of government. Because these persons raised that alarm, they gave that information timely, but the government failed to respond. So they have no other option than to leave their fate in the hands of criminals. And these criminals started protecting them. Days after, they came up again with the ideas of ransom. So you pay ransoms to stay in your own community. That was how bad it is. In the case of Kwara, before this, like Dr. Gesser said, yes, there were reports. The communities also sent reports, and these criminals also sent reports and sent letters, sent notice to these communities, informing them of their attacks, informing them of their plans. These were also intelligence that should have been processed. Whose responsibility to process this intelligence is the intelligence agencies, the security agencies. Nothing happened. The communities were attacked, and numbers of scores have already been told that they're, although uncertain, some quarters have mentioned 170, some have said 200, and some are even saying it's going to 270 now. So,
can I at this point put you on pause? I understand that the police public relations officer in Kwara State is joining us so that we can at least get clear numbers from her. Let's welcome now via Zoom from Ilorin, Toun Ejire, who is the public relations officer of Nigeria Police there in Kwara State Command. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me on the program.
Okay, can you tell us what the situation is in Kwara now? Just give us a sense of what transpired on Wednesday night and tell us what the situation is as of this morning.
On the 3rd of February at about 17:30 hours, we received a distress call that a community called Woro community in Kayama local government area of Kwara State was under attack by armed gunmen. And it was a dastardly act that took place in that community because the outcome of that dastardly act resulted in the loss of over 75 precious lives. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, PhD and PM, under 24 hours had mobilized both operational and tactical teams down to that community. And even the president of our country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had also directed the military, to move down to that community. As of this morning that I speak with you, the community is relatively peaceful amidst fears, but the presence of police personnel and alongside the military is on ground at the community as I speak.
Stay with you. For an attack that's resulted in that number of casualties, it is likely that it happened for a number of hours. First, was there no security presence in that community before the attack? And then when the attack began, was there no information, to the security operatives, just so that they can get in good time and probably reduce the number of casualties from that attack?
Oh, yes, the security, the presence of security in that community was there. This community is about 2.5, 3 hours to the divisional police headquarters in Kayama. The presence, they called for backup. The police went there, but as the case may be, it's unfortunate that their firepower, overwhelmed that of the police personnel on ground. And before backup could come, the dastardly acts had already been carried out.
That the firepower of the police was overpowered. There's been attacks, although not this massive, in Kwara State. Does the police not have some form of intelligence? Since, well, you have mentioned the fact that this, you are incapacitated in terms of equipment and firearms, but does the police have information, intelligence information, in that state where you cover, just so that you could have prevented this from happening? Is that also challenged, from your end?
No, not at all. We do not just, we are not just saddled alone with the responsibility of gathering information. We work collaboratively, with other security agencies here in the state. We also work based on the information that we are being given, or for the information that our police operatives gather from the community or even the locals, as the case may be. But in this present attack that happened recently, it just happened and you know, before the police could, you know, just nip this thing in the bud before it's escalated to what it was. We got intelligence and probably efforts or operational discussions or strategies were already being put in place. We will just say it is really an unfortunate incident.
Now, I'll take you up on what you have said. You said it just happened. You said you got information, but before you could do the needful, I mean, all of this has happened. So does it mean that the police slept on its duties to that community?
No. Oh no, not at all. You know, let me explain this. The Kwara State Police Command has been involved in operations, these clearance operations, because we have basically cases bordering on kidnapping and banditry in two parts of the state, which is the Kwara North and the Kwara South. It will, if I need to take you back to the occurrence that happened in the Kwara South, which is the one that happened in that Eruku axis. Now, this clearance operation that the command has been carrying out, this is with the support of the National Security Advisor, whom also sent in their personnel and deployed every operational means. The operation carried out in both Kwara State and in Kogi State alike, and we have made significant, huge success in this operation. For this other incidents that happened in Woro community, it was just something that happened. It escalated really quick, really quick. So we are not resting on our honors, or neither would I say the police is being negligent about this. We actually responded. When we received this distress call, we responded to the situation.
Continue.
All right. Let me ask you, PPRO, just about the families that are affected. How are they receiving support? How are they being supported, whether by the Nigerian police or, you know, other persons?
Okay, the Commissioner of Police Kwara State Command, CP Adekemi Ojo, PSM and IPS, in company of other heads of security agencies here in the state, accompanied the Executive Governor of Kwara State, His Excellency Malam Abdurrahman Abdulrazak CON, to Woro community on the 4th of February. This visit was aimed on going down to the community to actually commensurate with victims or families of victims who lost their lives, and also to a high level meeting also took place there where decisive measures were being taken, and those measures are being adopted as we speak. We have mobile personnel, police mobile personnel, who are being deployed to that community as I speak, and our senior security bosses who are also on ground to supervise the activities or the operations of these men on ground. The governor has directed that relief materials and some sort of succor be given to community members of that community who are victims of this massacre.
What are you doing to ensure that there's no reoccurrence of this incident, especially in Kwara?
Heightened visibility policing and also intense intelligence gathering. You know, as we would always reach out to members of the public that when you see something, you say something. If we don't have adequate and timely reportage of information, you put the police in a very tight corner on how to police the community or the people of the state effectively. Timely reportage of incidents. If you notice suspicious movements of people or of persons, please reach out to the police through the designated channels.
The next question will be, even with the information, does the police have the power to match the power of, those who carry out these attacks. We need to round up this conversation. I'm sure we'll have, another conversation, of course, on this issue, which, would accommodate more opinions. But in 30 seconds, what would be your recommendation to forestall incidents like this?
All right, thank you. I would have quickly reacted to the response of the spokesperson of the Kwara State Police Command, because her response to the situation undermines the intelligence of the Nigerian police force. The police response mechanism is very poor in this country, and every Nigerian go to the street and take opinions from Nigerians. If there are issues in communities and you call the police, how many minutes or how many hours does it take for the police to respond? Our response mechanism is very, very poor. And in terms of intelligence gathering, the police are very, very lacking behind. In the community, where over 70 persons are killed, according to her report, up to this very moment, no arrest has been made. Nothing has been done. There's no even stop and search to even, at least, to be proactive, to be reactive. We should be proactive to reduce reactive investigation, not when this has happened. So my recommendation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is that if there are no consequences for compromise, there will be no sit-up in the entire security formations of our country. Up to this very moment, no service chiefs have been, been relieved of his or her job. What are the parameters for measuring the performance of our service chiefs in office? Nothing. So until these issues are nipped in the bud, if any of the commissioners of police son or daughter was involved in this, I think by now would have seen result. Or if the Inspector General of Police son or daughter is involved in this incident, would have seen result. So we must not begin to communalize the lives of Nigerians. And I tell you for free that nothing is going to happen. We have a Yelwata incident where all the security chiefs were involved and they were paraded themselves to Benue State. Up to this very moment, there are still killings in Benue State. What has changed? So we must have an idea of what we want to do. And if we don't change the formations, we will not get results.
We're completely out of time. Thank you very much. I don't think we can get to Dr. Getso, but as earlier mentioned, I'm sure we'd have another conversation, to deal with some of the issues. Thank you so much, Dr. Jonathan Isaac Onoja, security expert. It was indeed a pleasure to have you. Of course, SP Ton Ejire, PPPRO, Kwara State Command. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that we do not hear stories like this from Kwara again. Dr. Yahuza Getso, security intelligence expert. Thank you so much, Doctor. Would definitely have you for a second part of this conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me and all the listeners.
All right, so that's our package on Good Morning Nigeria this Friday. I'm Ian Ray John. Live locked on the NTA and enjoy your weekend.
And I'm Victor Azu. Bye-bye.